Do you ever feel like you have a drawing you have done and you think you've done everything right, but your drawing still looks a little bit flat and you don't know how to fix that? Well, let me show you what we can do in 3 easy steps to create depth into a flat drawing on a piece of paper. So hang in there and let's watch what this is all about. Hello and welcome to Senior Art Strokes. I'm Angel Mercado. Today we're going to be solving a great problem that a lot of people have, especially at the beginning, with creating depth, or creating the illusion of depth, because that's what we're doing, creating an illusion. There are very different tools we can use to do this. There are 3 steps. One is going to be the overlapping. When you overlap something, like if I have my hands here that are flat, by the time I put one behind the other one, you're going to see right away that one is in front of the other, overlapping. The other is going to be shading. Usually, when you want to pull something forward, you are going to start shading a little bit. It's going to have more texture. You're going to see it's going to be a little bit darker. You want to push something back. The farther back you want to push something, the lighter it will get. So that's 2. And the third one are the edges. We can create soft edges and hard edges. And that's also going to help us create the illusion of depth. Those 3 little things, they're very simple to do. You just have to be aware of how to do them, and where to place them. That's all. And the more you practice, of course, the better it will get. So if you like this, please give me a like, subscribe, ring the little bell so you know when my next videos are coming up. I post 2 videos a week, and that will help me greatly. So now let's go and see how we can create depth on a single sheet of paper. So if overlapping makes sense to you, let me know. Drop a little note and let me know. Also, if this was helpful to you, or if you need more help in this, also let me know. Maybe we can create future videos about this subject, on how we can start creating depth in our drawings. Okay, so to finish this, what do we get out of this? One, the main thing you can do is just to do it, to start practicing. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at this, the more natural it's going to come to you. You don't have to concentrate so much on this, because it will eventually come to you and it will be something that you'll do not even thinking about it. So practice is very important. And how do we create depth? By overlapping, by creating soft and hard edges, and also by shading. The darker shades, the darker tones, and the more textures are going to be in the foreground, and as you move back, as you recede, it's going to be less and less, lighter and lighter shades. So those are the 3 elements we need to use to do this. And by the way, down below in the descriptions is a free drawing warm-up exercises to help you maintain your muscle memory, or create your muscle memory and hand-eye coordinations. I do this all the time. I think these are even more important than just drawing, because this is what's going to help you create your line work. The line work is the most important aspect of a drawing that you can develop. You want to do this, you want to create a line that you put it there and let the viewer know that you know why you were intentional in doing this, not something wobbly or timid lines. So remember to check that package and get it, and please do those exercises. They will help you greatly. Okay, so when it comes to creating depth in our drawings, I can illustrate something very simple here with simple shapes first. Let's say we have a circle. Then let's say we have a rectangle. right here. I'm going to erase this part of the circle. So by doing this, right away, our brain is telling us, oh, the circle is behind the rectangle. So just by doing that, the overlapping, we just are creating depth. We're creating the illusion of depth. Now let's say I have another shape right in here. I'm just going to make an organic shape there. If I erase again the lines inside of the shape like this, now we will find ourselves with an image that has a background, which is the circle, the middle ground, which is the rectangle, and the foreground, which is this organic shape. So as you can see, just by overlapping, that is how we can create illusion of depth. Now the next thing is by adding a little bit of tone to the paper. So we're going to shade this circle to about there, very light. Now the rectangle is going to be a little bit darker than the circle. Since it's closer to us, we'll start seeing the shades a little bit darker. And by doing that there, now we can see that definitely this rectangle is in front of that circle. If we do this one in a darker tone, then we're going to push the circle and the rectangle farther away from us, and we're going to pull this shape forward, because first of all we have the overlapping, right, that we were talking before. That's one, the overlapping. Then we have the shading, which we go from very light as distance, it gets lighter, the closer to us it gets darker. So we have the shading, and also we have to think about the edges. We can create some soft edges, right, by doing this, or we can create some hard edges, which is like this, which in this instance the hard edge is right the one in front of us of this shape. So that is a very basic way of showing the effect of this. But let's do it on a drawing. What I'm going to do here, this is a sketch I did a few years ago at the marina here in town. And at the marina, this is I was just pretty much right in front of these boats. And in the background is this big apartment building. As a matter of fact, there are two of them, sort of like this. Of course, I'm not going to do a finished drawing. This is just for illustration purposes, so you can see what I'm talking about. This has several floors in it, so maybe you can do both of them at the same time. Just to show that, there were several floors there. Okay, and this one had a similar roof. Okay, so the first thing we were talking about was overlapping. Well, in front of this building there were these palm trees. Okay, so we're going to draw just a few palm trees here. One, maybe there were two. So we had the palm trees right in front of the building. And in front of this, there were this boat. The first boat, it was somewhere around here. This was kind of like a tall boat. Here in the bottom of the boat. Just taking my time a little bit. We want to kind of draw it a little bit accurate, of course. And here we have the cabin, the window of the cabin of this boat. Sort of like this. Then it went up like this, and on top there's the top of the boat. So just by doing this in front of it, you can see how the building all of a sudden has receded, right? It's taking place and moving back farther. And I'm going to draw the other boat. This boat was a little bit, wasn't quite as tall. Something like this. Here's the cabin, the window. And like I said, I was sitting right pretty much in front of this, so it was just a one-point perspective view that I had. And right here, okay, there. And of course, in between here was a dot area that went on both sides. Have these posts. I'm just putting just essential elements to illustrate my point of how we can create depth just by doing only three things. So we have the overlap, building receded to the back. Now the palm trees are going to be kind of like in the middle ground, and these boats are in the foreground, overlapping everything else. Also, the background is going to, let's add some tone. We're going to add some light tone to the roof. Everything in the background should be lighter than what is in the foreground. These are important shapes that we need to have in our drawing, but they're not the main players of the drawing. They tend to vanish a little bit in the background. And as you do this, of course, you can take your time a little bit more. Here I'm going kind of like against the clock. That's why I cannot take my time to do very neat stuff, because I will run out of time. This area should be a little bit darker because sun is not going to get much in this area. The sun is coming from this direction. But everything, as far as the tone goes, is much lighter than it will be in the foreground there. And this building, I'm just going to shade it to that area. This is a little bit darker here, there. Okay. And the trees, palm trees, the palm trees darker here, so we're going to darken this a little bit. Some of this is going to be a little bit darker because the boat maybe are casting a shadow there, and the bottom part is going to be a little bit darker. There we go. This side of the post is going to be, of course, darker because they're not going to get a whole lot of sun on this side, since the sun is coming from the opposite direction. And now the boat. This boat, this side is going to be under shadow. Part of this is going to be under shadow here, and this will be a little bit lighter. So we're going to go the opposite direction, just to make it darker. This area here, since it's it's in a semi-circle-like, it's going to be under shadow on this side. The window is going to be much darker. As a matter of fact, the window was one of the darkest parts of the whole composition, I remember. And this side, of course, is going to be darker than this side. There. Same thing here, this boat. Usually the water line is one of the darkest areas here because that's where it's really is in full shadow. This side is going to be a lot darker. There. And this is going to be lighter. Okay, so we're going to continue. My light source went out, so I had to do something a little bit different. As you can see, I'm trying to go darker. Everything is darker than the background. And it's going to do the same thing since it's kind of like rounded shape. This side is going to be a little bit darker. The upper part will be darker also. And this area here also is going to be, part will be darker than the other side because this will be under shadows. And this of course is going to be dark also there. And here, you know, it had antennas and different things, just like this one here had something. I'm just making this up. And now we're going to proceed with the waters. And so this dark here, this is going to be what the darkest reflections in there. About there, we're going to go. Same thing here. To about right there, here. And this area that's there by the bow is going to be also darker. It's going to be lighter. It's also going to be darker here. And the bow. And this is going to have a little bit of a shadow here also because it's a little bit rounded, so it's going to be darker there. Okay, so that's about the rough sketch. So as you can see, the more detail we add on, the less and less we start seeing the background, which that's what we want. This is kind of like we want to create a nice background, of course, to support the foreground, but at the same time we don't want the eye to go straight into the background. So we have this, the boats become, of course the boats and the water become the foreground. The middle ground are the trees, and the background here is the building. And we just had created that, like we said before, by overlapping, by creating hard edges and soft edges, and also by shading. The darker shades are going to be in the foreground. That is what's going to pull everything forward, and the light shades of course are going to be in the background. That's what's going to push that back. So I hope you got the idea here. Practice this. Is a very useful technique to practice to know if you really want to create depth in your drawings. So give me a like, subscribe, maybe ring the little bell, and share it if you know somebody who might be interested in learning about this. You will be helping me and you will be helping them also. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.